with the agent of the player talking about the contract, and Manchester United are also in contact with West Ham to discuss about the transfer fee. Man United are not going to pay completely crazy money, so Man United want to understand if there is the possibility to restructure the deal. Maybe a lower fee than £85 million, but maybe adding some add-ons and try to find a different structure. So talks ongoing. Man United are on Mateus Fernandes. There are more clubs also interested, so it's not only United and Real Madrid, but Man United are there. Man United are interested, Man United are working on it, and so for sure, an interesting situation to follow.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to United Focus. The transfer window opens in just 2 days. Monday morning, 48 hours, and the news today is absolutely stacked with updates across multiple targets simultaneously. Fabrizio Romano has dropped a major Mateus Fernandes update. United have moved ahead of Arsenal in the race for the West Ham midfielder. Bayern Munich are growing increasingly confident about Marcus Rashford. A brilliant new name has emerged from the World Cup that the data suggests compares to Rodri. And there is full clarity on where every single midfield target stands heading into the most important week of Manchester United's summer. This is the last major update before the window opens. Let's get through every single detail right now. Let's start with the biggest story of the day, because this one has moved significantly in the last 24 hours, and it is very encouraging news for United fans. The Times reported on Friday that Manchester United have stolen a march on Arsenal in the battle to sign West Ham's Mateus Fernandes. United have now emerged as the favourites to sign the 21-year-old this summer, moving ahead of the Gunners in what has been a competitive race involving multiple elite clubs. And then Fabrizio Romano followed up with his own update on YouTube, and the detail he provided tells you exactly where this deal stands right now. Romano confirmed that United are currently in official negotiations with Fernandes' agent, talking specifically about the contract, player side being handled. United are also in direct contact with West Ham to discuss the transfer fee. Both conversations are happening simultaneously. That is what proper advanced transfer pursuit looks like. Romano's update on the fee is the most interesting part. His understanding remains that West Ham's asking price is £85 million. West Ham, predictably, want as many clubs at the table as possible to drive that number upward. And there is genuine competition. Real Madrid, as a name indicated by Jose Mourinho, have shown genuine interest and made contact. But then, and this is significant, Real Madrid have just signed Bernardo Silva. With multiple midfielders now at the Bernabeu, their pursuit of Fernandes has cooled considerably. Contact, yes. Nothing advanced. That leaves United in the strongest position. And Romano confirmed something that will encourage United fans enormously. The West Ham ace favours United over all other suitors. Arsenal, PSG, Real Madrid. Everyone, Fernandes wants Old Trafford. Agreeing personal terms, Romano confirmed, will not be a problem. The sticking point is purely the fee. West Ham want £85 million. United are not going to pay completely crazy money. Romano's words. So United are exploring whether there is a way to restructure the deal. A lower upfront fee. More add-ons, a different payment structure that works for both clubs while ultimately reaching a figure closer to West Ham's valuation. This is standard high-level transfer negotiation. The desire is there from the player. The intent is clear from United. The gap between the two clubs on the fee needs bridging. With the window opening Monday, expect this one to move fast. At 21 years old, Fernandes is already being talked about at international level. Portugal manager Roberto Martinez has publicly praised him, saying what he is doing right now is incredible. He is not in Portugal's World Cup squad given the extraordinary quality ahead of him. Vitinha, arguably the best player in his position in the world, is blocking his path. But Martinez's recognition tells you everything about the trajectory this player is on. United are ahead. The player wants United. Get this done. Now here is one that has come completely out of nowhere today, and it is absolutely fascinating because if the data being cited is accurate, this could be one of the most intelligent signings United make all summer. According to the Daily Mail, Manchester United have their eyes on Tyler Adams of Bournemouth, the USA international who was an absolute dominant force in America's World Cup opening game against Paraguay on home soil. The USA won 4-1 in a very comfortable victory. And Adams? He was the engine that made it all work. Let me give you his stats from that single game because they are genuinely extraordinary. 52 of 59 passes completed, 9 passes into the final third, 2 out of 2 dribbles completed, 4 clearances, 2 interceptions, 3 ball recoveries, 7 out of 10 ground duels won, 3 fouls drawn. That is an elite midfield performance on the biggest stage in world football, and United's analysts have taken notice. The Daily Mail report states that United have recognised his output, with their analysts pointing to statistics that in some respects compare to, and in certain areas surpass, those of Manchester City's Rodri, the man who won the Ballon d'Or in 2024, the midfielder who is widely considered the best in the world in that holding role. Now, let's be clear about what stage this is at. Adams is under consideration. United are monitoring. There is nothing advanced. This is analysts flagging a player who has caught their eye, not a deal being done. But think about the profile. 27 years old, already Premier League proven at Bournemouth, plays as a defensive midfielder, the Casemiro role that United desperately need to fill. Anchors the midfield, wins duels, distributes intelligently, and being on the Bournemouth books means the Premier League familiarity is already there. The fee would also be significantly lower than the likes of Tonali or Tchouaméni, making Adams potentially excellent value if United believe the data is accurate and the World Cup performance is representative of his ceiling. Liverpool's manager Andoni Iraola, who worked with Adams at Bournemouth, is described as an advocate. Chelsea retain interest too, so United will have competition if they decide to push this forward. One to watch very, very closely as the World Cup progresses. A strong tournament from Adams could rapidly elevate this from under consideration to advanced talks. Rashford, Bayern Munich growing confident, a fee is being discussed. Right, Marcus Rashford. And today's update on this one is the most concrete development we have seen since Barcelona confirmed they would not trigger their purchase option. Team Talk understand that Bayern Munich are increasingly confident of landing Rashford this summer following positive talks with his representatives. Those conversations have been going well enough that Bayern are now preparing to submit an opening bid, expected in the coming days, worth around €25 million, roughly £21.5 million. However, Manchester United have already informed Bayern of their position. United want €30 million, approximately £26 million for the England international. So there is a small gap between what Bayern are preparing to offer and what United want. But in the grand scheme of transfer negotiations, the difference between 25 and €30 million is not enormous. This feels like a deal that can get done once the formal offers start being exchanged. Think about the context here. Rashford is at the World Cup with England right now. A strong tournament, which United are desperately hoping for, increases his profile and market value significantly. Bayern's interest comes on the back of them missing out on Anthony Gordon, who went to Barcelona. They need a left winger. Rashford, at his best, is exactly that profile. For United, getting €30 million for a player who is not in Michael Carrick's plans, who earns £325,000 a week, and who needs a fresh start to rediscover his best form. That is clean, positive business. Get the wages off the books, get a decent fee, give Rashford the new chapter he needs, and move forward. Barcelona still technically have their option on the table until the clause expires, but with the Catalans having made clear they will not trigger it, Bayern look like the frontrunners right now. Watch for formal bids to land early next week. Now here is a name that has appeared on United's radar today, and it is worth flagging even if it is early days. Reports from Spanish outlet Mundo Deportivo claim that United are monitoring Barcelona defensive midfielder Marc Casado. The 21-year-old has been one of the standout young midfielders in La Liga, a technically excellent holding player who has made a big impression at Camp Nou despite his age. Now, let's be honest about what monitoring means at this stage. It is not advanced. It is not imminent. It is United's recruitment team doing what good recruitment teams do, keeping tabs on talented players across Europe in case circumstances change. Casado has a significant release clause at Barcelona, making a move complicated financially. But with United needing multiple midfielders this summer and Casado fitting the profile they are looking for, a genuine defensive midfielder who can replace the Casemiro role, this is a name to keep in the back of your mind. If the Fernandes or Tonali pursuits hit obstacles, Casado could emerge as an alternative worth exploring. Quick but important update on the left-back position, because United have identified this as another area needing reinforcement this summer alongside midfield. Lewis Hall of Newcastle remains admired. Eddie Howe wants to keep him, and he has 3 years remaining on his contract. The Magpies are resistant to selling after already losing Anthony Gordon. United's recruitment team continue to assess options in that market, but with midfield being the overwhelming priority and the budget needing to stretch across multiple positions, left-back feels like a position that might be addressed later in the window once the midfield business is resolved. The bigger picture: what United's squad looks like after this window. Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture, because it is worth appreciating what United are building here. Casemiro, gone. Sancho, gone. Malacia, gone. Ugarte, expected to leave. The squad is being stripped of the dead wood that has held this club back. Coming in, Ederson confirmed. Fernandes expected. A third midfielder from the shortlist of Tonali, Adams, Tchouaméni or others. Potentially a new left-back. Possibly a forward addition depending on Xerxes' future. The vision is becoming very clear. A young, dynamic, energetic midfield. Mainu, Ederson, Fernandes, providing the foundation. Carrick's attacking players, Sesko, Mabumo, Kuna, all having impressed in their debut seasons. Champions League football returning. A manager who has already shown he can get United competing at the top end of the table. This is not the finished article yet, but the direction is absolutely right. The decision-making is disciplined, and the recruitment is smart elsewhere. Manchester United are expected to move on from Elliot Anderson and pursue other targets. Here is the full picture. Manchester City have made a verbal offer of £106 million for the Nottingham Forest midfielder, with a further £15 million in potential add-ons, taking the total package to around £121 million. Forest have responded by holding out for a Premier League record fee to sell him. They are not budging. They want the biggest transfer fee in Premier League history for a 23-year-old who, however talented, has never played Champions League football. United looked at those numbers. United noted that Anderson himself is said to favour a move to the Etihad over Old Trafford, and United made the sensible, mature, disciplined decision. This is not our fight. Walk away. And I want to take a moment to genuinely praise this recruitment department for that call, because the old Manchester United would absolutely have got dragged into this bidding war. Cast your mind back to 2019. United outbid City for Harry Maguire and paid an absurd world record fee for a centre-back. They raised the financial stakes irrationally for Fred. They overpaid for Alexis Sanchez. Time and again, United made panic-driven, ego-driven decisions to beat City to a signing, regardless of whether it made financial sense. That version of Manchester United is gone. The current regime looked at £120 million for Anderson, noted that City are already in pole position and the player prefers them, and said, "We have better ways to spend that money. We need 3 or 4 more signings this summer. Let City overpay. We will build our squad more intelligently." That is sensible, that is disciplined, that is exactly the kind of decision-making that builds sustainable, successful football clubs. Full credit to Michael Carrick and the recruitment team. United move on, and the targets they are moving on to are very